Welcome everyone to Twisted Dice. I'm Darren, and today we're going to talk about everything new and cool that's coming out from Games Workshop. Today we're seeing some new awesome models, and today joining me in the studio is Simon.
From the tip of the spearhead, and I've been told I've got to be on my bestest, non-saltiest behaviour. So
Yeah, we want to class this PG.
Because if you've ever listened to Tip of the Spearhead, it's a bit more 15 to 18, isn't it? Isn't it? So you want me a bit more PG. So
I think it's
I'm
more
gonna
18
one.
to
This
50.
is what I look like. Well, that's probably not far from true. 18 to salty anyway. That's for definite. So I'm going to be joining today to chat about the new stuff, and I'm going to be on my best non-sweariest behaviour. I promise.
We're going to get ready for the bleep buttons if we can help it. But today,
is that how it works? All right.
we're going to try to.
I'm actually I'm chuffed with today, mate. I'm chuffed. I'm chuffed with today. I only get really sweary when I get really annoyed. Today is a good day.
Today's a very, very good day. We've got to see some cool models. So, we've seen things like Blood Bowl, Fantasy, Firecry. We're not going to talk about them. We're going to talk about 40k and Blackstone Fortress and a little tad of 30k, like that little bit of salt at the end.
A little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, yeah.
A little bit of pepper, a little bit of flavour into the actual content itself, because it's one hell of a cool model. So we're going to talk about. So the first one we're going to talk about. Let's get him up on the screen. And that's the new models that's coming from Blackstone Fortress. Now, myself, I haven't really had an opportunity to play any of the Blackstone Fortress because everything that's going on, life is just so busy for myself. However, down the local gaming club, I see a couple of guys always play this, and it's just an awesome game. Now, Simon, I believe you've played Blackstone Fortress, haven't you?
Yeah. So when it came out, I got it, and I was playing it down in our club, and we got a bit into it. It's one of those sort of games. I think the more you put in, the more you'll get out. You're not going to get an instant gratification like you would do from like playing a game of like K or. Are you still there, mate?
Yeah, still there. You kind of dropped off for a little bit, and
I did. Sorry about that.
No, it's
we'll
not.
blame my Isle of Man broadband. So So like, and the sort of way it works is it's very much a game of it's like an RPG, right? That's the best sort of way I put it. It's like a 40k RPG where you keep sort of going in. It's like raiding. It's like, like if you ever played the sort of game where you go and you do your raids. It's a bit like XCOM, I suppose. You get your dudes. You have a mission. You go in. You try and do your mission, and then you get back out again. And then you obviously you level up. You gain loot as you're going along, and you power your guys up. And then you go again, and then the game is sort of preset to get harder as you get better. So the challenges step up, and you can go out of your way pretty quickly, and you can get out your depth pretty quickly. But because of the way like the missions draw, they should be random. You don't really know what you're going to get next as you explore the fortress and all that. And it is a really cool game. And then with the expansions they've done, the expansions just give you bigger and nastier baddies. So like you've got like the that big bull thing. I can't remember what it was called. He was mean. And then up we get to now, and as you sort of said, now in game, this is Thanos, end of the world. We're getting to the end of the mission, and then the Blackstone Fortress itself, which is really cool, isn't it? So the Blackstone Fortress is like Abaddon had one, didn't he? Didn't he blow up Cadia with a Blackstone Fortress?
I think
he actually had one, didn't he?
Yes. And he's like,
he's lost it. I think I'm pretty sure it blew up. Or he crashed it into like he did something. It was his big super killer weapon, wasn't it? So when these things kind of appear, like everyone gets like interested, don't they? And that's why I think, from memory, Obsidious Malix is a Black Legion dude who's been sent to sort of to gain it or to get whatever it is from it. And it's just such a really cool. All been really awesome, but we were sort of saying before, weren't we? Like the upgraded spindle drums, because when you saw the spindle drums, they were like so weird. They're like literally alien. They don't really look like they fit 40k, do they?
No, this is it. It's just like that whole
different. It's like, and these new guys come along. They're like massive versions of the little spindle drums.
But these are meant to be the ender bosses, aren't they? They're meant to be like the final end game of the actual Blackstone itself. Like they're going to be tough. They're going to be hard. Like we were talking about this earlier on, like the models themselves look absolutely freaking stunning, like something out of a sci-fi film. Cross between like bio weaponry confused with like mechanical stuff inside.
It is, isn't it? It's got that because like the shell, it looks like chichenous, doesn't it? It looks like a crab shell on the top.
That's it.
And then you've got these spindly claws, and then, like I was saying before, like the tiny little hands underneath that look like T-Rex hands, which just look really like sinister and like he's picking up the little dude and chucking him out of the way. Get out of the way, little man. Let the big guys through. Then they've got like these like racks of what looks like, but like they don't look like guns. I don't really know. Like, but they're all different sort of sizes. The barrels, the bits down the side. Like, what is that all about?
But the interesting thing about this though is
exhaust ports.
They talk about bringing these models into 40k themselves. So the ability to be able to use these into a 40k game is going to be absolutely stunning.
Yeah, they were saying that, weren't they? They were saying that they're unaligned. You know what? I haven't really paid that close attention to the other guys because I always sort of thought it was like they were chaos, but they're not really chaos because it's the Blackstone Fortress itself, isn't it? It's the sentient life that is this like ship. It's manufacturing these things and unleashing them, isn't it? That's kind of like the premise. So God knows what kind of patterns it's got in there. I mean, these things they just look absolutely mad. Like I do love the 1980 shoulder pads on them though. They just look crazy. They just look mad, don't they?
It's like someone's done some awesome kit bashing stuff out, between Tyranids and Necrons. That's what it reminds me of.
And they've done such a cool job in the paint scheme as well. Like I love the sort of like the whitish blue on the top. Like the blending. It like then you've got like this sort of ominous kind of purple glowing eye in the middle, and then these like really weird looking spindly legs.
Absolutely lovely itself. But like the Blackstone Fortress itself. So this is going to bring us into the next part because the Blackstone Fortress has got that ability to like nullify the psychers, that hasn't it? Or like the material.
So it's made of Blackstone, I suppose. That's pretty obvious, isn't it? I don't really think we need to say that, but yeah. So it's like, and we were having this little debate before, and hopefully, what I love about these little videos is people tell us stuff, like because I thought like the Cadia or Cadia, I can never say it right, however they want to say it. Like it was dotted with all of these kind of like massive pillars, and I was convinced that was Blackstone, but I'm not sure if that was a fan theory or whatever. But that was kind of used as a dampener to the Eye of Terror. Now he's blown that up. Like everyone's scrambling around for like sources of Blackstone, aren't they? Which is where we're going to go to because that's kind of leads to the 40k guy, isn't he?
That last bit you see with Fabius Bile, that last video they dropped with Fabius, he's on Cadia, and he's saying about they're all gone, but they're just missing out on some of the good bits, and he's got the Death Guard and the Custodians coming after him. He's like, I'm going to get to test out some cool stuff, so maybe he's got some of that Blackstone that's all starting to come into plan with him.
If you've not read his little short story, you want to. It's amazing. He's got this like he's racing across this like planetary system, and he's got a load of like renegades with him, and he just basically like he's got Typhus and all of the sort of the Nurgle guys hammering down after him, and he just basically says to his renegades, right, your job is to stand here and die so I can escape, and then he basically just sells them all out, and he just does one. So he's now like he's got like the whole of the Death Guard, like every single Death Guard there is just hammering after him because he's nicked this Nurgle Ark thing. It's like the Ark of the Covenant, but Nurgle, and he reckons like it's just, and he's got it like in this containment field, and it keeps trying to escape, and he's just like he's absolutely in love with it. But like Typhus is like he's nicked something of ours, and that's kind of his story. So he's like racing across the galaxy like with this Ark of the Covenant Nurgle thing.
Awesome.
in his ship, and he's just got all of these Nurgle guys that's hammering after him. So yeah, so I don't know, but he's going to be making some cool things. I don't know how Nurgly they're going to be, but he's like the way these stories are all developing is just it's just absolutely amazing. I absolutely love it. But awesome. I digress, mate, which I often do.
Yes.
The podcast knows I'm a digresser.
So that brings us on to the next thing. So today we have seen an absolutely awesome new model from the Necron range. Like, he looks like an absolute beast. Now, if anyone plays Necrons, they will know that he's not a new model, but he's just got a brand new design. I'm just trying to remember his blooming name. It's the...
he is Illuminor Serazaz.
I can't even say it.
I think
Shezaz. I can't say it.
It's that SZ combo, which just always... Yes. Is a silent Z? Is he just Seraz? I'm not entirely sure. I'm going to go with Seraz. Illuminor Seraz. But yeah, he already had a model. He had he had a fine cast, didn't
Well,
he?
this is the thing.
Which
This is the beautiful thing about it. We've now come away from that fine cast era. Like if anyone's used fine cast, they know the pain of it as it snaps brittle in your hands. If you've got a model, there's a really good chance you can have air pockets in there. Like half the face is going to be missing because like the.
I did like so I had some good fine cast models that were really easy to mod. But,
Oh yeah,
I
definitely.
get it. It was a poisoned chalice, wasn't it? I don't think it did remotely the job they thought it was going to do. But no, this guy in plastic, and he looks big as well. Again, you can't really gauge the size, but that little guy on the base looks to be like an Imperial Psyker. So if he's like Imperial Guard size, this guy's a beast.
He's going to be Terminator. He's going to be on a not Terminator base, but a Dreadnought base.
He has been on the Necron protein juice, my friend.
Oh, mate.
He is buff. He has been working out because he is monstrously sized.
He is definitely monstrous size, but like the other beautiful thing about this model is they've kept to some of the characteristics as before. So he's still got like all the spindly legs, you know. So they've kept the cool weapon that he's got, like the old two-handed scythe type thing, which is absolutely friggin' awesome. But more importantly, like if you look upon like the design itself, it's got a lot sweeter. So they've like got the triac stalker type legs onto it. Now I'm not sure like the thing he's got perched up onto his top shoulder. He didn't have that before, did he? I'm pretty sure of it.
So that is the little circle thing.
Yeah.
So that is the Empiric Overcharger. That is a piece of Blackstone. There you go.
And you see now that brings us sweetly into this next part. One of the rules that's going to make him OP.
Well, okay. You tell me why you think that's OP.
It's not going to be OP at all. It's totally the opposite. This is the Venom Crawler all over again.
It is, isn't it? And I like the idea of the stopping psychers, and on any double is kind of nice, but 9 inches away means you've got to get in there. Although the Necrons were I don't know. Again, much of it depends on how you can get them around the battlefield. But
there's definitely ways you
against
can
the Thousand Sun. Yeah, but against the Thousand Suns, like your lad was saying, wasn't he? Oh, go on, really not looking forward to facing this. And I'm thinking, hang about, your Thousand Suns have got a smite range of 24 inches. You're not going to go anywhere near him. So I'm going to have to come to you, and then you're going to have to not fly away. So it's one of those. It's a tricky one, isn't it? I think whether or not that is why you take him. Because you play Tau and suddenly my Empiric Overcharge is not worth the paper it's written on. So you kind of hope he's got some other cool stuff. But the bit that's kind of getting me with this is he's like the Ghostbusters if you look at it.
Yeah,
he's like he's zapping this like psychic guy in the back, and it's like I don't know if it's blood or it doesn't really look like blood. They've not painted it like blood anyway. It's like life essence. I think it starts off like blood, and then it sort of like changes color, and it's all being sort of like siphoned into this thing, which is then going up to his backpack and his overcharger thing, and you think, wow, that's like really. I really hope he's got that weapon is an anti-psycho weapon, because that would make him really cool. If you can get him into combat and he's doing like real work on psychers, then
that would make him absolutely friggin' awesome.
Suddenly he's got a place for sure. Yeah, because the thing with the Necrons, what they were always, and I remember the Necrons in like fifth. Do you remember like the croissant wave when like everyone had the flying circus of croissants going everywhere, and they were their warlords, or I can't remember what they're actually called, but they were amazing in combat. They were so good with their war scythes. They were just absolutely brutal. And then we sort of went to 6th and 7th, and then 8th. The 8th, they kind of lost a lot of that brutality in combat. They just didn't seem to be nearly as nasty as what they were. And I really love to see that come back again. But his weapon looks amazing, doesn't it?
This could be that.
This looks so cool.
This could be the new era of that, maybe, because obviously that book's very, very near, and this could be the new thing for the Necrons rising back to power. It could, because like one of the things that the models that we haven't seen, and this is like one John brought up earlier on, was the priors that the Necrons used to have.
Yes, and that's cunningly the name of the book, isn't it? So I think you kind of think the priors are also they mentioned it on the feed, and we'll come to it. But Eisenhorn has a pariah, which is like the psychic null, isn't it? So yes. Necrons had them too, and I kind of wonder if they would redo them and re-bring them in as kind of like an anti because it's almost like I get his special rules with it with the you can't do that, but you kind of almost need like a Sisters of Silence, almost like you can't have any psychic powers, because that's then anti-psychic to me. And if the way they were explaining it on the feed was like these guys are they've had enough, haven't they? That's what they sort of said. They're fed up. They're fed up with all of the humans and their psychic powers. They're like, right, we're done with it. None of us are going to have any anymore. So you kind of think they're going to have to redo them as like this, like no more psychic.
Do apologise in the
really
sound
cool
there. Obviously, the internet
is
is not great on Simon's little island. You can kind of see him flickering in there. So I do apologise on that.
I'm going to have to take a bit of offence there. My internet's amazing. I was just being polite. I'm booming. I'm booming the broadband here, mate. But
maybe it's my side. I'm just going to do a quick speed check. Yeah, so one of us.
We're gonna have a little speed check.
So let's.
Challenge later.
What we're going to do, we're going to take a little break just there, and then we're going to come back and we're going to carry on this thing with the Necron. So we're going to have a short break, and we'll be right back. Welcome back from that short little break. Hopefully the internet is going to be a little bit better. We've kind of got a little bit of a frozen screen with Si, but you're going to get that beautiful, that rustic tone of Simon's voice. We go.
Yeah, so it's gone. Yeah, mate, it's gone really jaggedy again, man. Don't know what's going on.
It is what it is, but look, we can hear your beautiful voice, so that's.
Oh, you can hear me. That's fine then. That's fine then. So yeah, so we were just like literally just finishing off on the Siraz or whatever the heck we're talking about, and then we were just quickly sort of about where Necrons kind of are now, which is not in a great place. They've got a couple of tricks, but everyone knows them, and you can play against that pretty easily. But like we sort of just said, didn't we? I think you can be very hit or miss with what you get out of a Psychic Awakening book. Like Genestealer Cult got not a lot. Orcs, I think, got a big boost. I think Tau got just a ridiculous boost.
Yeah, Tau at the moment is definitely got a very, very good boost out of it.
Well, there's no tournaments to prove that, unfortunately. But I think when one day we open up and we get tournaments, the first handful are going to be won by Tau by miles, unless something props up and gives someone some love. And this is the thing with the Necrons, isn't it? It's like that you wouldn't have to do a lot to make them really, really cool. The units are there. I think the strengths are there. They're a little bit pricey for what they do, but if you give them a little bit more survivability, and it's really weird to say because they get back up again, but most armies have no issues with dealing with 30 Necron warriors, do they?
No, and that's the thing. Like death by 1,000 cuts, right? With a lot of armies.
Yeah, and that's it. So they need something. I don't know what, but what the reoccurring theme of Psychic Awakening is they give a stratagem to every unit, and some are good, some not so much. But if they give the units which are kind of nearly there but not quite a bit of love, I mean, if like you wouldn't mind losing a unit of Necron Warriors if it did a bit more punch. But those Gauss guns are pretty useless, to be honest. And if at least they did something like some extra AP or something a bit scarier, I think then they're probably going to be in a good space. But if they go down like a very anti-psyker route, that's all great and good. But if you're not playing against psychers, that's it's no update at all, is it?
No. So all you're going to be facing really, all you're going to be going against is the Grey Knights and the Thousand Suns, and that's where if the Grey Knights are still the favour of the month.
Yeah, I mean, Grey Knights are very good, and I've seen some very good players, and they're pretty scary when they're played very well. But I think like Grey Knights versus Demons isn't a game. You just might as well just shake their hands. Thanks a lot, mate. It was fun meeting you. Let's go for a pint. And that's the kind of like I don't know what level Necrons will be, whether it could be like that, where they've got a massive amount of that kind of resilience. But I don't know. But it'd be really cool to see Necrons kind of back again because they are smart looking armies. When you see that kind of the rank and file and they're all all blingy and that, and you look at this guy. I keep looking at this picture. It's just absolutely amazing. That little that you actually get like the close up one of the obviously the psychic guy. He's actually melting. His laser's melting him, and he's basically souping up the flesh. It's just insane.
It's
Such a cool model.
it's beautiful, and like the thing I love about it, they've gone away from that whole glowy. Do you know when they used to do that whole
Oh, the
bit of
glow
green
rod.
plastic? Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
glad they've kind of gone away from that a little bit because like, a, it was a
yeah.
real pain in the butt if you lose one. Like you've got no way of you know. I know you go on eBay and you can pick one up, but back in the days when they first come out, you didn't get that chance. It's kind of like, oh well, or you had to kind of like stick it all together and kind of mask the rod off, so you didn't
I
actually
just
ever done
painted
it.
it. I painted it, and then I did like a lightning effect, like it was like a kind of a Gauss tube, because I couldn't be bothered with trying to do it any differently because it was like this is going to be painful. And
Yeah,
they just look like Lego, and we all know my love of Lego. They look like Lego toys when they got the little clear plastic bit, and it just I don't know, just took away the it just took away from the thing for me. So I was like, no. So this one looks the paint job on the war side is stunning, which you'd
yeah, they've done
expect
awesome.
from those guys, right? And like this kind of like that soupy stuff being like going up to this thing and swirling around. You're like, and he's like got his sort of hand. If you actually look at his model, he's like manipulating it with his hand or something. You're like, oh, this is just mental. What is he doing?
It's friggin'
It's just
beautiful,
so
man.
cool. He's
Such a
one of those
beautiful
models
model.
which, irrespective of whether you're going to play him, you should get him and paint him because he looks like such a joy to paint as well.
Yeah, a
He
proper
just looks awesome.
centerpiece.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Well,
totally
there we
agree with you
go.
on that. Totally agree with you that. So, absolutely stunning model. Now, this obviously will bring us on to the next part. Now, of course, the Necrons are coming back, and from the video you see the tomb world, and you can see everything else that's going on, and there's you see. I'm trying to think. I remember what's in the video now. So you've got the first thing you've got pop up is the Inquisitor.
Yep. Yep.
Um,
Up she pops, and then they've got this kind of reawakening tomb world.
was
With
it
like all
Dracrel? I can't remember what her name is now.
she is Draxus.
Draxus, that's it.
Draxus.
Draxus
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
her little bird. Now
So
she looks absolutely friggin' stunning, like a beautiful model. And and this is like where Games Workshop going again, like they're going up to their next level of game because it's just absolutely beautiful. Like the design of it, it's just awesome.
yeah, and I mean I love the Inquisitors anyway. Like back in fifth, fourth, I don't even know what edition it was. I had like the Kotias like Inquisition Horde, and I just loved the fluff of
Fifth,
it. I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong, it was a horrible army to play against. I wasn't stupid, but it was really cool as well. And I loved like all the fluff of the Inquisitors, and like you read all the books like the Eisenhorn books, and his little mate in the wheelchair. I can't remember his name now, but he had the little psychic dude in this like kind of like floating beeping like he honestly was like a Dalek or something. It was weird, and I loved all like the differing levels of
the
what
little
the Inquisitors would
Jerichos.
be from like and but like the Inquisitor would go from radical to the other route and then they were sort of saying and she's true this lass is radical, right? She is bought into the using the weapons against them, and there's so much going on with this model. It's amazing. Like I love the old school. That's a proper hark back to the old days shuriken catapult as well, or
Yeah,
like the wheel in it. That's like a second edition one. Then you've got like I think he said it was a Claude Fiend, and that a Dark Eldar thing. The
I'm
Claude Fiend, is that one of the beasts from the Beastmasters? I think that isn't the Claude Fiend one of them.
I don't know. I really don't know. It like if you go by everything else that's on her, it could well be
So
down that route
so
because like
you've got like that as a pauldron. Then you've got this like really cool. He's so beautifully painted as well. This like little green dragon thing. You're like, what on earth is that? I think they called it a wiv. What did they call it on the thing? It wasn't a wyvern. It was like a Y something. So it was like part wyvern, part something else. But like they
it's
called it Shang, which I just think is like awesome. But
she's
I
such a
just don't
beautiful
know what
model.
Shang's gonna do. What I mean, I could, and the thing is, like, and I think Eddie Eccles nailed it. This is like a painter's model again because you look at the armor, the sort of like she's got like I don't know what it's called, but like the bit just underneath the dragon is like it's like a neck guard thing.
Yeah,
So she's got that going on, and then you've got like the cloak, which just looks lush. The armor's like got like a little Dark Eldar kind of feel to it, with like maybe I don't know if they painted it that way, but like you could paint that dragon like you could paint it red or something, and it just there's so many different ways to do it. It just looks so
someone's going to paint it up like a parrot.
well, if you want to paint it up like a Macau, like Pirates of the Caribbean, I will accept that if you put a little pirate hat on it. but she's got like, I don't know what it is. She reminds me of like Doctor Strange and
Yes.
Swinton's character, like the sort of bald monk woman. I don't know if they've modelled it on her, but she just looks a bit like
That's
her.
a really good shout. There could be quite a bit of a possibility on that.
Yeah, and then you've got like that sort of like power fist thing going on. I don't know.
I'm
She
going to
just
love to
looks
see her
amazing.
rules. Like, drop some comments down below if anyone's got any leaks on what cool rules that she's going to bring to the tabletop. But she's going to be one hell of a. She looks pretty badass as it is, with a big old
I
power fist there as well.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't really seen the Inquisitors do much, have we? I mean,
No,
there was talk of them coming in and like really like going with the Space Marine Force because they didn't break. Well, I mean, this is an ITC thing, but they didn't break the faction, so you could have an Inquisitor, and it's just never really see it happen because obviously people at the sort of level I'm at, and I'm not very good, don't get me wrong, but I do go to a lot of events. I'm not never on the top tables, but I'm at a lot of events, so. They won't bring an Inquisitor unless there's a reason to. I don't want to say OP because that's pretty much how it kind of is, I suppose. But they won't bring a
tournament
model because
wise,
it
it
looks
is always
cool.
the case. Yeah, fluff wise, you'll see it more in a fluff game than you will in a tournament game.
Oh yeah, and I'd love to see like an Inquisition force, again, and
But I
because I
suppose
just
like
think there's
I
so
suppose
much
now like with
coolness in
the
there.
with the Primaris and that coming about and like Gilliman coming in and about, Gilliman doesn't have much love for the Inquisitors, does he? Like he doesn't think much
I don't
of
think
them.
I don't think anyone loves the Inquisitors, do they? Like Space Wolves
No,
especially don't like them. They poke their noses in, they're pains in the ass, but they basically can blow up a planet if they want to, which I really like. I like that kind of, they spring up wherever. And there's always so many cool stories around Inquisitors, and like I said, the books are stunning, and I just would love to see more of them on the table for reasons other than just it's an orbital barrage or it's a this or a that. But I'd love to see what this little dragon thing does. I just really want to know.
yeah.
Is it going to be like is it going to be like Cody has his Cyber Eagle, or is it going to do something like really, really neat? I don't know. I'd like it
I
to have
reckon
like
I
an
think it's
anti-psychic streak or something.
I reckon
I
it's going
just
to be
don't know.
more like down the lines of like Kosias's Eagle, where it's going to go out, do a couple of attacks, and then you got a pistol as well. So she's going to have like that two-pronged attack.
She can't like leave it on her arm all the time, can she? She won't be able to punch anyone. That would make that power fist pretty redundant. So she's going to have to send it off and do something. But yeah, I don't know. It just looks so cool. Such a cool model. I think out of the two, it's hard to sort of say because
I'm going to go with the Necron dude. Like again, like for me, the Necron dude is looks better, looks sweeter. But to be fair, out of all the models, I think the Necron dude is probably the best one out of the lot. There's so much detail, so much going on that in that
I,
dynamic
I
pose.
I do I do particularly like that he's melting the dude.
Mm.
I know it sounds a bit grim, but like you actually look like there's a close up on the community page of that bit, and like the way they've done the dynamic, they've done the object. I can never remember what it's called. Object lighting, the bit they go, and they've got like the green glow on his legs. And then there's a bit on the dude himself. You think, oh, it's just absolutely stunning. It's just
Yeah.
that's a painter's model for sure, and I'd love to see how that kind of comes out. But that war cyberspace, I mean, like I really struggle to do that kind of the dark to the light that they do so well. I know it's airbrush, but it's just that's a level
Not
above me.
necessarily. You can achieve that effect better, I think, by doing wet blends and doing like
Oh, okay.
what I
Well,
will
just
do
like
is I'll do a couple of
with brush.
yeah, you can do those effects with brushes. You don't have to do that with airbrush. And looking at that picture, I think that's done more with the actual airbrush. It's with the actual paints themselves, opposed to airbrush.
Oh, you think there's more of a wet blend on? That'd be interesting.
Yeah, that's it. I think it's more of a
Ah.
wet blend on there, like or loads and loads of layers and letting it dry, and then another one, and another one. So, once I get my hands on that model, I'll do a little thing on that because I'm pretty confident that I can show some easy ways of doing it. One via the airbrush, and two, more importantly,
So
with the actual brush
So when we're
itself.
going to get that, because Pariah's number 9, isn't it? So what we got next is what is next? So we've just had Saga of the Beast. I know Engine War. Is Engine War next?
I think Engine Wars.
Ooh.
I don't know because we haven't seen nothing with the Engine War yet. Like,
They have been dropping some bits and pieces about it. I know we've got Engine War. Then we've got. Oh no, it's Spider, isn't it? Is it the Spider next? I think
I,
it is, isn't it?
I think it's the Spider
Ooh.
next because obviously you got the Fabius was the model was really shown a couple of weeks ago and that's a stunning
Yeah.
bit of kit itself.
So I think it's Spider next. Then Engine War. Then this.
Yeah,
So maybe, but yeah, so we're a little way away from him, but it's really cool that they're showing us it. So
and that's awesome. But like then I suppose they've got the chance to do it, so this is a perfect opportunity. So 40k wise, that's pretty much it. Now this brings me into the last piece of the actual show itself, and this is Saul Tarvitz. Saul Tarvitz for 30k. So a lot of 30k players who play the Emperor's Children have had the awesome cool rolls for Saul Tarvitz, but never actually had the model to use.
Since the start, right? They had the model. They had the rules from the start.
From the start, that's it. Yeah, from.
Am I on like book 8 or something, daft now?
Yeah. So we've never ever had a model for him, and like Saul Tarvitz is like one of the badass characters in the 30k universe, in the fact that he did hold off, the Horus heresy, back in his hand. Like he held them back for quite a long time. He's just an absolutely friggin' awesome character. Of course, my favourite character, Garviel Loken, one of his best buddies. And I love that whole thing where they go down to Planet Murder, and you've got obviously Eidolon having a get little nip at him. Friggin' awesome. And they've done this character, the actual pose and the model, like some real justice onto him. I think if I was going to paint that model up, if I get my hands out of him to paint him up, I'd do it with a little bit of with a bit of battle damage on him, because I'd have him as it's that final phase in Isfan where he's going to have all the armor's going to be chipped, dented.
He's going to. What do you mean chipped? He's going to be hardly any paint on it. It's going to look like he's crawled through hell. That's what it's going to look like. Because by the end of it, he is like, with his ragtag bunch of misfits and whoever was left. He's been through everything, hasn't he? He is like 100%. Those first 3 books were amazing. I love those first 3 books in Horus Heresy, when you've got this absolute. They go down to the planet expecting to find nobody, and out they burst like this little ragtag. It's like the A-Team, isn't it?
Yes.
Like the A-Team for 2 books, just popping out and being absolute pains and holding up Horus himself, and he beats. I think they said it on the feed, and I was trying to remember it, but he beats the
Lucius.
Lucius in a duel, doesn't he?
Yeah, and Lucius is like one of the best fighters there is, and yeah, he does actually beat him, and of course, obviously, him and Lucius were quite pally, quite buddy, and for that to happen, kind of says a lot about Lucius, because Lucius, he. If I remember right in the Isfan books, obviously you got Lucius was in with the loyalists at the beginning, and then obviously he meets up with what's his bloody name?
Yeah. I know
God, that's going to drive me absolutely crazy now.
He jumps ship, doesn't he? And,
He jumps ship and basically offers them up freely, and obviously Saul Tarvitz comes down and goes, "But look, how come all these guys are dead? Like, well, what's going on here?" And he's like, and then that's it. They start sparring, start fighting around. Yeah, so it's quite an awesome little battle scene there, and me not remembering that guy's bloody name is going to drive me absolutely insane now.
I haven't read those books in so long. It makes me want to, though. That's the sort of thing. Is I don't. I have to be dead honest, and I'm sorry. I'm probably going to get into love for this, but I don't really like the game. I'm not really a fan of Space Marine versus Space Marine. I don't particularly like 7th edition rules either. Not saying that 8th are any better. Let's not get into that debate. But it's. But what I've always loved is the models, and you've seen some of my Chaos stuff. I have loads of Heresy models in there. Like I love the little light bike things, like for the Outrider bikes. All my Chaos characters are all based off a Horus Heresy of some sort. So I absolutely love the World Eaters are my Eidolon. There you go. So the World Eaters were my thing. So I've got tons of World Eater stuff. But I really love the Emperor's Children. Like they've got the sword guys, haven't they? They've got they're special guys. So they're all very prim and proper, and I love the books. Like their downfall was so well written, and you end up with like some painter painting he's painting someone out of blood, isn't he, or something right at the end. And it's like the whole ship's just gone absolutely mad, like crazy mad, and it's just like he's doing a portrait, isn't he? He's doing a portrait of Fulgrim out in blood. And he's like, "Oh, what is going on here?" But that bit when those first 3 books were just so cool, like so iconic, because it's just what 40k came from, isn't it? And for them to have done that, and now it is cool that they give them a rule, or give the rules, sorry, our model to the rules. I would love to see us back. I don't know why they haven't given us another view, because I'd love to see that sniper rifle thing he's got going on there. And looks like he's got a bit of a cape, but I can't.
It's
Well,
hard
he
to
has got a
see.
cape,
Like,
hasn't
I
he?
think like most of the characters do have capes, but
Yeah,
yeah,
but
because they mentioned
it
about
doesn't
the
look very
sniper
big,
rifle.
does it? Because he's got a bit of red on that side, and he's got a bit of like a bit on the other side, and then they've got this like sniper rifle. I'd be really cool to see, is it under the cape or over the cape? But yeah, because that looks like his belt. If you look like the belt across his eagle, that looks like his sniper rifle kind of like belt, doesn't it? I think
It
maybe.
does, yeah.
Oh, but it looks so cool. And this, I am a sucker for a bright. I know everyone loves their non-metallic metals, but I love it when they just do metallic and make it nice and blingy. Because I
I think
love that.
sometimes when you paint with metallic paints, if you don't get it right, it looks tacky. If you do it right, it looks awesome. If you can master the art of non-metallic painting, then it looks absolutely epic. The only problem is you just never have the time to paint a whole army in that non-metallic metal. That's the only problem.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? But they've done a good job of this guy, because I like the thing with painting gold is you've got to remember to sort of edge highlight in silver.
Yeah.
And it feels counterintuitive to do that, but it just gives the gold a little bit of that's
Little
what
bit
kicks it
extra.
out, and you can sort of see, because my sort of one complaint of Horus Heresy would be sometimes they don't paint the models quite as well as what the 40k stuff gets.
No,
I don't know if that's the studio or what. I don't know.
I think the
But
idea
this
upon
guy
that
looks-
is like the idea upon that is like if you can have like hundreds and loads of Marines, is you want to get the army done quick, so they have
Yeah,
like a
true.
totally different way of the different painting style to them, which is cool. Like, and I in some ways I prefer some of the way the Horus Heresy models are painted over than the 40k models. I just love that style. And
And he does look cool, and he's got like a little weird thing on his head. Don't know what that is. Must be like a chip or something. But yeah, I don't know. He's a really cool model, and if you like Horus Heresy, I think it's going to be pretty stunning. And I will be honest, like the Horus Heresy has like a real massive following, and when you do see like a Horus Heresy event, and you see all the armies, they do look amazing, because they are. I don't know if it's the rule set, but you seem to have a bit more variety. I might be going a bit out on a limb there, but like you'll see they bring all sorts of tanks and this and that and the other, and like some of the armies that you see when they're painted up well they do look amazing. So it's fair play.
there's some I've seen some really awesome paint jobs for the 30k. Well, look, that is it. That is to the end of the show. Thank you very much for everyone that's joined us and watched us on this epic little adventure. If you liked what you've seen today, please do hit the like on the video. Helps us out massively. Don't forget to hit the subscribe to the channel, and more importantly, smack the bell, because that reminds you of anything cool coming out from Twisted Dice, and hopefully we will catch you all very, very soon. And from Simon, he's going to say goodbye. No, we've still got a frozen screen.
You've got a frozen screen. Okay, if you can hear me, goodbye. There we go.
We'll catch you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.
Later.